Here we are in step number 2 of the Zillion micro braid style. In this step, I will be showing you in detail, step by step, how to braid your own micro braids. First, I will begin by showing you how to position your hands on your hair extensions. I will also be showing you how to part your hair into sections and then how to braid your own micro braids. Before you begin braiding your micro braids, you want to make sure that your hair has already been parted into a section. To part my hair, I will be using my water hair spray bottle to spritz my hair as it helps me to part my hair. I will also be using a comb to part my hair and to detangle through my hair as well. The type of comb that I like to use has 3 different sized teeth, and each size teeth serve for different purposes. The teeth here on the left side of my comb serve as your typical comb. The teeth here on the right side you use to help part your hair and even detangle your hair as well. The teeth at the bottom of my comb serves as your typical pick, so depending on what type of style you have, you could fluff the roots of your hair for more of a voluminous look, or you could simply use the pick at the end of the comb for detangling your hair. I will be using the pick at the end and even the 2 teeth at the top of the comb to help me as I am parting and sectioning my hair. So first, I will begin by grabbing my spray bottle and misting the section of hair that I will be parting for my micro braid. Now I will be taking my comb and I will part an extremely small square of hair on my head. The section of hair that you will be using for your Zillion braid is an extremely small patch of hair. That is the reason why they're called micro braids, is because the braids are micro sized. So this section that I have parted off, I could say that the measurement on both sides is probably 1/4 of an inch. You just want to part an extremely small piece of hair that you will be using for your micro braid extensions. So now that I've parted my section of hair, I will use my comb to detangle through my hair, and then you want to apply hair gel on the ends of your hair to keep your hair slick within your braids. Now that you have parted your section of hair, I will show you how to position your hands on your hair extensions. Now that you have parted your section of hair on your head for your micro braids, I will show you how to actually prepare your hair extensions and position your hands on your hair for your braiding process. So the type of hair that I have here is extremely light colored hair. This hair is blonde and my hair is not blonde. The reason why I am using this blonde hair is so you can clearly see the distinction between the weave and my natural hair so that you can understand the braiding technique. So I will be doing the same thing to this blonde hair that I would do with black hair as I am braiding my hair. This is the hair after I've taken it out of the package, and it's kind of long. The length of this hair, if I braided the braids all the way down to the bottom, it would fall almost at my waist. So what you want to do is make sure you locate the middle of this section of hair, and you want to cut the hair in half. So the part that's in my hand here, you will be cutting in half with your scissors so that the length isn't too long. If you would like your braids past your shoulders, then leave the length as is. But if you would like your braids to fall a little bit at your shoulders, go ahead and cut the hair in half. So for demonstration purposes, I'm going to take off a little bit of the hair from this bundle to show you how much hair you need for your actual micro braid. So I'm just going to pinch a little bit off here. And then I am going to cut this piece of hair in half. Now this is how much hair you would actually need for your micro braid. You could use a little bit more for extremely full braids, or a little bit less if you want your braids to be a little bit thinner. But this is about the size of hair that you will need for your micro braid. So now you want to locate the middle of the hair here. And I'm going to bring both sides to one side just to show you. and then you're simply going to divide this hair into 2 parts. But when you divide this hair into 2 parts, you want to pinch it off with 1/3 and then 2/3 in your other hand. Now I have 1/3 of the hair in my right hand and 2/3 of the hair in my left hand, and I've made sure that both sides are equal in length. So now what you want to do is take your small piece of hair, your 1/3, and wrap it around the 2/3. And then bring both ends back together. So now the sections are divided equally into 3 parts. The fact that this part here was 2/3 and this part in my hand here was 1/3, when I brought the piece back together, this divided everything up into 3 equal parts. You want to make sure that your hair is consistently in 3 parts so that your braids look very uniform. So now to position your hands on your hair, you want to take your left hand and you want to insert your index finger through the middle of that 2/3 piece of hair that we've broken up into. So in the middle goes your index finger, and your middle finger and your thumb goes around the hair to hold the hair in your hands. So once again, I'm going to show you your index finger through the middle, your thumb and your middle finger on the outside, and you're just going to use the rest of your hands to hold the hair. So now for your right hand, you're going to take your 3 main fingers of your hand, your thumb, index, and middle finger, and you're going to hold it, position it around this hair here. So I'm just going to go ahead, grab the hair into all 3 of my fingers like this. And you want to make sure that your hands are positioned as close to this point as possible. So now that your hand's positioned, the last and crucial step for positioning your hand for your micro braids, you are going to take your right hand that has your 3 main fingers, you are going to twirl it underneath, and then you're going to stick your index finger through the opening of the hair that's in your left hand. So the index finger goes through, and then with your index finger and your thumb, you're going to pinch that hair that's in between those 2 fingers, and now I can release my right hand. So at this point, this is where you will start actually braiding your hair. You will only start with your right hand to grab all of your hairs you are braiding. So now that I've shown you how to prepare the hair on your head for your braids, and also how to prepare your hands on your extensions, I will be showing you how to braid your micro braid. So first, I will begin by going over the hair once again, how you want to position your hands. So I break the 1/3 off from the 2/3, wrap the 1/3 around the 2/3 to bring that 1/3 back together again, and there's my 3 equal parts. So now my left hand, the index finger goes through the opening of the 2/3, and the rest of my hands go around. And then my right hand, the 3 main fingers are positioned on the hair. Now you are going to turn your right hand under, insert your index finger through the opening that's there at your your left hand. So insert your index finger, and the hair that's in between your index finger now and your thumb, you pinch together. Now you can release your left hand and the hairs in your right hand, and you can begin braiding. So the reason why I have this blonde hair is so that as I am braiding my hair, you can clearly see the distinction between the different parts of the weave and also how I incorporate it into my micro braid. So to begin, here we have our part here on our head. It's already been detangled in section and hair gel has been applied to the ends. So now at this point, you have your right hand here, and you want to take your left hand and put it over your head to help you as you are braiding your hair. Now, all of the hair that's on my part will be added to the middle layer that's in between my index finger and my thumb there. So this piece of hair here is what will be connected to my real hair. So now what you will do with your left hand is take all of the hair that's on your scalp, gather it together, and you are going to open up your index finger and your thumb to grab the hair. So once again, I will show you exactly what happened. So the hair is in my right hand, and I will be opening up my index finger and my thumb to grab all of the hair that's on my scalp. So my left hand, I'm going to gather all of the hair. Then I'm going to go ahead, open my index finger and my thumb and grab all of the hair on my scalp. So now that I've grabbed all of the hair, I'm going to take my left hand again, put it over my head, and I'm going to grab this section of hair here and pull it over to the side. As I pull it to the side, I'm going to rotate my right hand to the right and create a little opening here in between my index finger and also my ring finger. So now I'm going to take my index finger of my left hand and I'm going to go in and hook this bottom piece of hair here to add to my left hand. So I'm going to go ahead and hook that, and now it's connected to my left hand, and now my right hand is free. So now my right hand again with my 3 main fingers, I'm going to grab my real hair and the extension hair into my fingers there and position everything in place once more. So now that my left hand has 2 strands of hair, my left hand is going to rotate to the left to create an opening here. So in between this opening, I insert my index finger and I hook this bottom piece of hair to add to my right hand. The hair is still broken up into 3 parts even when I add it to my hand. So now my left hand is free again with this piece of hair there, and my right hand has 2 strands of hair. Every time one of your hand has 2 strands of hair, you're going to rotate that hand. Since my right hand now has 2 strands of hair, the right hand gets rotated to the right. But if my left hand had 2 strands of hair, it would get rotated to the left. So now I'm just going to grab this hair here, put it over to the side, and also rotate my right hand to the right. And then I'm going to create that opening there. Once that opening is created, I take my index finger of my left hand and I hook the bottom piece of hair to add to my left hand. And the process continues. Rotate my left hand to the left, insert my index finger to hook the bottom piece of hair, and now my left hand is free. Grab this piece of hair again, rotate my right hand to the right, insert my index finger and grab that bottom piece of hair here. And now I am forming my braid. You only need to do this about 3 to 4 times, maybe even 5 times, and then you can actually just continue to braid all the way down to the bottom. So since my arm is a little bit uncomfortable because it's wrapped around my head, I like to release to make sure that the braid is still holding on to my hair. And then I'm just going to grab each of the 3 pieces with my hands. And then I'm just going to continue to braid to the bottom. You're just going to continue to braid all the way down, and sometimes one of the ends are a little shorter than the other. As you can see, this middle end is a little bit shorter than the rest of the hair, but you're just going to continue to braid down until you can't go any longer, and then you can even borrow the hair from one of the sides to add to that section. So this middle section seems to be the longest, and I'm just going to pinch a little bit of hair off there to add to this short end, and then I can continue braiding to the bottom. So every time one of the sides gets short, like I see this side here is getting shorter, I could pinch off a little piece of hair to add to that side so that it can become a little bit longer and more even with the rest of the pieces. So now that you finished braiding your micro braid, you want to make sure that you snip off any pieces of hairs that stick outside of your braid. So as you go down your hair, you notice that there's little bits of pieces of hair that sticks out. Now sometimes this just simply comes from shorter sides of your braid that start to run out and you start to see these frayed ends. What you want to do is take your scissors and simply snip off the hairs on the edges of the braid. This helps your braid to look a lot more neater so that when you're finished, your braids are not fuzzy. Now that you have done your first micro braid, I will show you a second time once again how to do your micro braid. And for example, I'm showing you with blonde hair so you can clearly see the braiding technique and process. So remember, in between your index finger and your thumb, you will be grabbing your real hair and it will be connected to this strand here. So now to begin, I'm going to gather all of my hair here for my section with my left hand, and I'm going to open my index finger and my thumb to grab all of my real hair. So once you've gathered all of the hair, you are going to take your left hand, grab the blonde hair here. Now I'm going to move this over to the side and rotate my right hand, since it has two strands of hair. Rotate my right hand to the right and create a little opening there. And then take the index finger of my left hand, hook this bottom piece of blonde hair, and connect it with my left hand. So now my right hand is free and my left hand has two strands of hair. Now I'm going to take my three main fingers of my right hand, grab my real hair with that strand of hair there, and then my left hand is going to get rotated to the left. Once I rotate it to the left, I create a little opening here. I'm going to hook my index finger on that bottom strand to connect that back to my right hand. And now my left hand is free once again. So I move the left hair out of the way with my left hand, and I take my right hand, since it has two strands, and rotate it to the right, grab my index finger, hook it onto this bottom piece of blonde hair to add to my left hand. Once again, rotate the left hand to the left, this opening here, grab it with my index finger, and now my left hand is free again and my right hand has two strands of hair. Every time one of your hands is holding two strands of hair, you have to rotate that hand to turn it. So since my right hand has two strands of hair, I turn my right hand to the right to create a little opening there, take my index finger, and I hook that small piece. And you're going to continue this process about 3 to 4 to even 5 times until the braid is snug onto your head. You can keep doing this until you go as comfortably down on the hair as you can before you release. Once I release, the braid should stay, and if it doesn't stay, I should braid down further. So now once I let go, the braid should be intact as you see there. The reason why I let go is because I honestly cannot continue to braid all the way down with my hand over my head. So I release and take both my fingers of my hands, and then I position my hands back on those 3 sections of hair that I have. And then I just continue braiding all the way to the bottom. So as you're learning how to braid, you're probably gonna move at a very slow speed like this. I've been braiding my hair ever since I was 12 to 11 years old. So I could go extremely fast, but I am doing the same motion that anyone else is doing. I'm rotating the piece of hair and I'm continuing to braid down. As you get more comfortable with braiding, you can go a lot faster. Now remember, if you have any hairs that stick out of your braids, make sure to use your combs to snip off the hairs. But if your real hair sticks out of your braids, use hair gel to slick your hair down to your braids. In this step, I have shown you how to part and section your hair for your braids. I've also shown you how to position your hands on your extensions and braid your own micro braid. In the next step, step number 3, I will be giving you my best tips, tricks, and advice for doing your micro Zillion braids.